Good morning. We're going to look at a new ink, and this is my first full bottle of Ferris Wheel Press ink. I have tried a little sample pack recently, and there's some quite nice inks they have. And this is Roaring Patina Black, and it comes. I guess it says it's a limited edition 2022. Um, it's a Canadian company, Ferris Wheel Press. I don't know if the ink is made in Canada, but anyway, um, they have quite an interesting series of products. They make inks, of course. They make a couple fountain pens, and they also have notebooks. So anyway, we're going to look at this ink. I believe this is their first real. This is their first black. I could be mistaken with thinking that, but I believe this is their first true black. And it patina black, apparently there is some metallic shimmer to this. If I had to shake the bottle, I should have waited a bit. If you look, you can just see a little hint in there of gold or something like that. And anyway, the first impressions, it's beautifully packaged. That's one of the interesting things about Ferris Wheel Press. They really put a lot of thought and effort into their packaging. Um, it has sort of an Art Deco vintage feel to it, maybe like a steampunk feel. Quite often, on their products, you'll see this brass bolt or nut design element. And apparently in their office they have a vintage printing press, and this is on that press there's some bolts, and they use those as inspiration in their products. So the Ferris wheel brush fountain pen has, rather than a clip, has a bolt on the cap, and it sort of prevents it from rolling. And it's kind of an interesting design. But it's also kind of nice to know that little bit of history, because I've often wondered why they use that bolt. So anyway, first impressions of the bottle, it's beautifully designed. It is, however, a fairly narrow bottle with a large cap on the top. And as I was setting up, I accidentally did that a couple of times as I was trying to set up the shot here. So that's one thing to be aware of. It's not exactly a stable bottle. So I think if you're using this, you might want to just hold on to it as you're opening it up and filling the pen. Chances are I'm going to spill this before this video is out. Anyway, interesting bottle. It's beautifully shaped. There's sort of I like this solid glass bottom. Rather interesting little shape on the bottom here. Rather than being completely flat, there's just a sort of an indent. Kind of looks like an eye, and it's kind of interesting. And so anyway, I'm going to open it up and I'm going to do a little color swatch and see how it looks. And the first thing I see, after you take the cap off, there's just a little seal here. Or is there? No, that's just ink.
Oh, hi.
Right. Yeah, so you take it off and you see how it's going. And we're going to just do a color swatch. Dip the ink in, put it on. Oh, it's kind of a blue-black, the first impression I get. And I don't really see any shimmer yet or any gold, but that might occur as it dries. And I'm going to carefully let that dry.
Glossy.
It's glossy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pen Kid 2 is here. And as it dries, I can see it's blue-black, and I'm starting to see some other shimmer occurring in there, some gold flakes. Yeah, I can see it now as it dries. Yeah.
You can also make out hints of purple.
Purple, yeah, and kind of oh yeah, you're really starting to see the gold now as it dries. Yeah.
That looks like a very pretty ink, honestly.
Yeah. So I'm going to put it in an ink. I'm going to put the ink in a pen. Oh, and the cat's here to help because and she just walks through the ink.
On the place where we
that's wet, so be careful.
This where you set it, it really has a splotch of gold in the center there.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah. Do you want to toss that in the garbage so it doesn't get all over the place?
Yes.
Put that in the garbage for me, please. So the cat has gone. She heard the fact that I could spill the ink, so she came to see what was going on. So I'm going to put it in a Pelican 12 Sylvexa. It has a fairly rod nib on it, a medium, so it might give you some nice effects as you use it, as I use it, I should say. So I'm going to carefully unbottle this, and I'm going to dip it in. Try, yeah. I'm actually quite nervous as I do this. Oh, Sam, could you bring me a paper towel, please?
Yep.
Clean that off. And as this is drying, you can really start to see the gold shimmer, some purple coming up, all kinds of nice color. Carefully cap that up. Put that back. Oh, thank you. And then I'm going to clean this off.
Honestly, I think that's a very nice looking ink.
I think so too.
It has a lot of different varying shades in it, which is nice, because if you just have a black, then it can be a bit boring. Because fountain pens, in my opinion at least, look really nice with some color, and that has a lot of variation, which is fairly nice.
And the cat is trying to help, right?
Yes.
As you can see, she's back.
Scout, I'm just going to move you because we don't want you walking in that's ink. And you'll make a
So this is the Ferris Wheel Press. Roaring Patina black, and it feels very nice and wet. It's a very wet ink in this pen, and looking at it, you don't really see anything occurring while it's wet, but as it dries, I think you'll see some shimmer and sheen coming up. But already you can see it in the sample that I've put down. It's very nice.
It goes down fairly thick.
Yeah. So Roaring Patina black, I guess the Roaring 20s. This is a 1920. This is a 2022 limited edition. So I'm thinking it's, Roaring Patina, Roaring 20s.
Honestly, that looks really beautiful.
Yeah.
Just the bottle alone, even.
Yeah, it's just gonna. So. Very wet ink. It's also a very wet pen,
Yes.
This pen puts down a lot of ink. So as I wrote with it, it's quite nice to use. It's very intense. It's very black, very wet. And I'm just watching as it dries here to see what occurs. I'm starting to see some shimmer occurring there in that.
It's very interesting how you can't see anything and it's just a matte black.
I'm starting to see it now.
Gold.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that if you had like a medium or a broad or a stub, this would be really nice in it. But I'm going to keep it in this pen. Another pen I'm going to put it in is the CP1. I just want to see what it looks like in a thinner pen or a finer nib. So the cat's not around. I'm going to quickly put this in here.
She's laying down on.
She's laying down on the floor.
The sofa thing.
Oh, okay. She's watching. She's watching carefully from afar.
For some reason, I want to call it that.
No, it's called a chaise. A chaise lounge. But it's not a spittoon. You know what a spittoon is?
I know what a spittoon is.
That ain't a spittoon.
But for some reason, I said a foottoon.
A foottoon.
A foottoon.
Footstool, but that's not a stool.
I know. I didn't.
I think you coined a new word.
I'm just saying a random word that came to mind associated with that.
This is becoming a very confusing conversation.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so in a Lamy, the CP1, it's actually still very wet. It moves very nicely. I'm not seeing, and it's still very wet. So yeah, as that dries, I think you'll see some sheen and shimmer showing up.
And to show that off, we could show the one that we did a little second ago.
Yeah, you see that?
You can start to see a bit of gold and some of the variation in color that you can see. It's kind of interesting because as it moves around, it changes.
Yeah.
A pen that personally I think it would suit well is, I don't know what it's called, but the one that's very colorful.
The Twisby, the Iris 700.
Yeah,
maybe it might actually work quite well.
Yeah, because of just the variations in color and the brightness for black ink, at least.
Yeah.
Personally,
actually, you know what?
Well with that pen.
In this pen, it works really nicely. The medium, that's the Pelican. In the actually, you can see it a little bit in the Lamy too, but they're both quite nice. Lovely ink. Probably work best with a medium or a broad or a stub. But all in all, I quite like this ink. I haven't a lot of experience with this company yet, but I'm pleased with this, and I think it's a good ink. So anyway, if you have any experience with this, let me know. Have you accidentally spilt a bottle of this? That's also something I'd be very curious. How often do these things spill? I guess you have to hold on to it very carefully.
That would
be aware that it probably would tip over if you weren't careful.
Yeah. That would be a very bad ink to spill because it
would go everywhere.
Very shiny.
Yeah, it would go everywhere.
Very colorful. Yeah.
So anyway, I hope you liked this quick video, and if you're new around here, give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. It's a lot of fun to do, and we're always looking at weird products, new products, fountain pens, inks, notebooks, other things, art, doing all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what are you going to say?
Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks.